To help us digest Secretary Kerry's speech, I'd like to bring in Noel Nickpour, a Republican strategist, also former congressional candidate as well. James Peterson, MSNBC contributor, professor at Lehigh University. Good to have both of you. Thank you for being with me. Noel, let me start with you here in the studio. Your major takeaway from Secretary Kerry's speech today.
Well, number one, I think the timing was a bit bizarre. I think that maybe he should have given this a couple of years ago. I don't really understand why, with a couple of weeks left, that he is going out with a bang, so to speak. It also is not a good way to leave President-elect Trump. I mean, Obama has stated, let's make this transition smooth. And this is probably the last thing that makes a smooth transition. Not to mention, I understand about the two-state resolution, but I mean, optics speak a different language. And to me, I think this was a slap in the face, not only to one of our largest allies, but I know there's no love lost really with Netanyahu and the Obama administration, but my gosh, come on.
James, what was Secretary Kerry trying to accomplish today, given that policy in the region is, obviously poised to change, apparently fairly dramatically under President Trump?
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to thread a needle here. This wouldn't be the first U.S. presidential administration that tried to address critical issues around Israel and Palestine in the Middle East in the 12th hour of the administration. Sometimes they do that for political cover. Sometimes they do that just because when you're at this stage of an administration, all bets are kind of off, so to speak. What Kerry's trying to do is, again, thread this needle, Craig. He's trying to make the case that this UN resolution is not a departure from where the United States has been on the particular issue of settlements for the last couple of decades. It's still obviously a big political football, and we still are unable to have conversations around this issue that can center the human rights abuses that people are so centered on when you talk about settlement developments. And so I think that's what's critical. It's easy for us to talk about terrorism and for Hamas. It's easy for us to talk about being pro-Israel, and Israel is one of our great allies. Remember, the U.S. Just promised $38 billion. That's a clear indication that obviously the Obama administration understands the allyship piece of it, but I think the human rights abuses and the issues of Palestinian freedom are what's challenging the Obama administration in the 12th hour of their time in office right now.
I want to switch gears here for a second and talk about something unrelated to all of this. There was this new Gallup poll out today. Perhaps you've seen it. And they asked people which man, which woman they admired most. 22% of those who were polled by Gallup said Barack Obama was the most admired man. 15% said Donald Trump. We should note both of them tripling that of the Pope. Hillary Clinton led most admired woman at 12%. James, does it surprise you at all that Donald Trump ranks so high?
Not surprising at all, Craig. I mean, we can talk about the voting numbers, but 60+ million people voted for Donald Trump. There are a lot of folks in America who see Donald Trump as a successful business person. There are a lot of folks who identify with Donald Trump's politics, even though some of those politics may seem to be reprehensible to some of us. He has great support in this nation, which is why he's president-elect. Also, no surprise on Obama. I mean, he's got very, very high approval ratings as he's exiting office. I think the highest amongst most recent presidents. And so those numbers are not surprises to me at all.
Noel, it will be interesting to see where Mr. Trump's numbers might be a year from now, higher or lower than 15%.
I'm sure you will be on his heels.
Well,
I'm sure you'll be reporting those numbers. So
it makes it difficult to be on his heels when he refuses to have a news conference, though.
Well, this is true. You got to catch him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not surprised that a lot of people admire him. You've got to realize that nationwide, his brand, the big gold tee, it's all over the United States with a lot of resorts and golf clubs and whatnot. So a lot of people, they realize that Donald Trump is a businessman. He's the celebrity on, The Apprentice, and now he's going to be the president. So, I think, I think that it's going to be a very busy year.
Yes, a very busy 4 years.
Yes.
Noel Nickpour, James Peterson, a big thanks to both of you. Happy New Year if I don't see you before. Senator Marco Rubio, Florida Senator Marco Rubio, also just weighing in on John Kerry's speech.